Hey guys, Chris from Hockey Tutorial here. Today we're going to be doing a review of the ice hockey shooting pads or the hockey skill pads. This is one of the pro-size pads that we have over here. This pad over here would be ideal for people that want to practice their shooting, their wrist shots, slap shots, as you get a nice full extension in your shots due to the size of the pad, and it also protects the base of your stick while you're doing so. We're also going to take a quick look at the larger edition of these pads that we have and give you a bit of information, take a close look at them and figure out which would be the better one for you. These pads are available to anyone in the UK, Europe, or the rest of the world, so it's a great chance for us to take a look at a product that hasn't been available but now is. So right now I'm just showing you a comparison of the two shooting pads. The one on the top is the common pro size pad, and the one on the bottom is the larger size pad. Both of these pads can be both used for your shooting and your stick handling, but the larger size pad at the bottom gives you a much bigger area to practice. So what we have over here is one of the pro size pads, the most common pads that you might see on a lot of videos on YouTube. So with these pads, most important aspect to them is that they keep your stick blade safe. And what that means is that the base of your stick over here, the blade, if you practice on cement or other materials that aren't really designated for practicing off-ice hockey, the base of the stick blade will get worn away and your stick blade will get thinner and thinner, which means that you'll have to replace the stick blade a lot quicker than you would normally have to if you were practicing on one of these pads or if you were practicing on the ice. So that's the first thing that they do. The second thing is that the pucks slide on them very well, which means you can practice a full range of your stick handling tricks, your deacon, as well as your full wrist shots and slap shots while keeping your stick blade safe. So just to show you how the pucks slide. As you can see, the pucks slide very well on these shooting pads, which means that again you can practice stick handling as well as your shooting. And most importantly, as I keep stressing, to keep your stick blade safe. As you know, these sticks can be very expensive, and the last thing you want to do is have to replace it sooner than you need to. So next we'll just take a quick look at the larger addition to these pads, and we'll talk about the benefits of having each of these pads and which one might be better for you. So next we're just going to take a look at this large size shooting pad, talk about the advantages of having this one over the pro size, and just give you a couple examples of me using them. So next we're taking a look at the larger size pads. The most obvious advantage between having this over the pro size is that you have a lot more room to practice. So if there's maybe two of you practicing, or you want more space to practice your stick handling, this would be the one to go for, as you have a much bigger surface to practice on. Again, same aspects, keeps the base of your stick blade safe. It's not going to get worn away while you're using this material. And you can also have full extension on your wrist shots and your slap shots, so you can practice those quite well. But as we say, this pad would be recommended for the users that want to practice stick handling more than anything, as you get a lot more room to practice, and you can see that the puck slides, again, very well on these pads, which means that you're able to practice a lot of tricks, deeks, maybe fakes, and also things like toe drags, while you have a much bigger space to practice on with these pads over here. So again, just showing you an example of how well the puck slides on this material. As you can see, the puck slides incredibly well, which means that you can practice your stick handling as well as your shooting on this pad. So as we'd say, we'd recommend the users that want to practice stick handling to get one of these larger size pads if you have the space, and as you can also practice your shooting on this pad as well. But if you want something just predominantly for your shooting and things like your slap shots and your wrist shots, then we'd recommend the pro size. Also, if you have limited space and you have to move the shooting pad around, the pro size is better because it's a lot more portable. You can put it in the trunk of your car, you can put it into smaller cars, or you can even carry it down to the nearby park. These pads over here would be recommended if you have a nice big garden, somewhere you can leave the pad out and not have to worry about moving it around so much. So again, we'll just take another quick look at them, and we'll talk about different aspects as to how long they last and the different conditions that these pads can be used in. Also looking at advantages of having the pro size, whereas compared to the large size pad. Pro size pad is great if you need space, if you don't have a lot of space to practice, because you can fold it away. The large size pads give you a lot more room, so again that would be an advantage to them, but they're not as portable as the small size pads or the pro size pads over here. So that'd be one of the reasons. So if you're somebody that has a lot of space, feel free to get the large ones, but if you're somebody that needs to move the pad around quite a lot to practice, then I'd recommend getting one of these over here. You can still practice stick handling as we said, but you just get a lot more room on the large size pads than you do on these pads over here. So just taking a look at one of the most important questions as to how long these pads will last and what they can take. As we said, they can be used for slap shots, so feel free to whack away these pads. You don't have to worry about them breaking or anything like that. They're designed to take slap shots, so they'll be fine for that. As to how long they'll last, this shooting pad over here is my personal one. I've had this one for about a year and a half. I use it about 3-4 times a week, mostly on slap shots, and it's completely fine. It has no damage on it, no markings, besides just cosmetic marks which don't affect the performance of the pad at all. Just take a closer look at what I mean by that. You might be able to see them there. The cosmetic marks are just the kind of rub marks that the puck leaves after it's been grinded against one of these pads for some time, but this doesn't affect the performance of the pad. It's completely fine, still good to go. As I said, I've been using this one for about 1.5 years, which is great there. So provided you don't leave these pads out in the extreme heat or the extreme cold, these pads will last a very long time. If you work your way over to hockeytutorial.com, link will be in the video description. We'll have tips and tricks as to how you can look after these pads and make them last much longer, but they do last an incredibly long time provided you look after them, which requires minimum effort, which is also nice to see. So also one of the other parts of this review we wanted to touch on was the puck and how it slides on these pads. We found that after testing these pads for the last year or so, that used hockey pucks, the more used the puck is, the better it will slide on these pads. The brand new pucks still do slide well on these pads, but we found that the more you use the puck, if it's kind of been used quite a lot, like second-hand pucks, slide incredibly well when compared to the brand new hockey pucks. So that'll be something else to keep in mind while you're practicing on one of these shooting pads over here. You can see that our pads are quite loose, or as you can see, they're quite flexible. What this means is that if you need to put the pad away, you can fold it, or if you need to put it into the trunk of a car, you can fold it in half, which isn't a problem with these pads. To straighten it out again, all you do is just lie it down flat and put something heavy on top of it, and that will straighten out within a few minutes, and then you can use it straight away. It just means that it's a little bit easier to store because not everyone has enough space to just leave these lying around everywhere. So what we have over here is the larger edition of the shooting pads. This pad over here would be recommended for users that want to practice stick handling more than anything. So with the size of this pad, you'll be able to set up loads of pucks around it. You can practice things like dribbling the puck in between them. You can practice your toe drags, as well as also working on things like deking side to side with the size of this pad. You can still also practice your shots, wrist shots, slap shots, as you still get a massive area to practice, so you're getting full extension in all of your shots. But at the same time, the most important part of these pads is that the base of your stick's blade is protected. If you use it on the concrete or the ground, the stick at the bottom gets worn away, which means you have to replace your stick rather quickly. But with these pads over here, it protects the base of your stick, so it means that you can practice off the ice while still being able to keep your stick blade safe.